latest upgrade to the car. I have here a MSD 6AL ignition control module. The 6AL, the L stands for limit, which means it has this port here where you can plug in rev limiter chips. In this case, I've installed a MSD 3-step rev limiter instead, which allows you to activate different rev limits depending on which wires you apply voltage to. So the first one is when there's no voltage applied to any of the terminals. It's the default rev limit. It's basically the maximum that you ever want your engine to run to protect it from damage. The second one, I have it set where when the line lock is engaged, it activates this rev limiter chip, basically to prevent it from over revving the engine when you're doing your burnout prior to staging. And then the last one is the launch rev limit, and this one is adjustable. It has a screw that you can change your launch RPM, and I'll show you how you can activate those different rev limits depending on your situation. So inside the car we have some switches and some buttons. That's what turns the stuff on. So when you go to the strip, and the first thing you do is you pull into the water box and you're going to do your burnout. You flip on your line lock, which prevents you from rolling away while you're doing your burnout, and that'll set the first rev limit. And then when you're done, you turn that off, and that goes back to the default rev limit. Next thing you do is you stage and you pull into up to the starting line, and so you'll push in the clutch and you'll put it in first gear, and then you press this launch button, and that'll activate the launch rev limit. And as soon as you release the clutch, you're back to your default rev limit, which will allow us to go up to about 6,500 RPM. So you pull into the starting line, you depress the clutch, you press launch, that activates the launch rev limit, and you give it some gas, your RPM will be held to the launch RPM that you want. As soon as you release the clutch, you're back to the default rev limit, and away you go.